Next, we're going to focus on configuring restrictions. Now, these restrictions are for FSC 3000. I will have another breakdown of restrictions on AX7 and Synergy later in this training. So keep a lookout for those if your site is running PVAX7 or a Synergy controller. So for product restrictions on the Fuel Site Controller 3000, we have a restrictions tab. We have a product restrictions and a quantity restrictions. Now, the way that the product restrictions work is there's various product restriction code, 01, 02, except each one of those codes has a valid product that are listed for each code. So if I set a card to use code 1, right now I have code 1 configured for unleaded, which means if that card has a restriction of code 1, they're only able to fuel unleaded fuel using code 1 or a pump that's using code 1 as its product. Code 2 here, we have it configured for 2 different types of diesel. So they would be able to fuel either code 5 or code 6. So if they select a pump that's using a different code for its configuration, and you have product restrictions term, then they would be denied fuel if they're selecting a that's using a different fuel type code. Now, in order to make changes to this, you just need to select the available products that you would like this restriction to have. So here, if I wanted somebody to be able to fuel unleaded, premium, and mid-grade, I could go ahead and just check those boxes and hit save. Now, when you save a setting, it doesn't push it down to the fuel site controller right away. So if you wanted to push down, you could hit save and send, and that will push that change down to the fuel site controller. We also have quantity restrictions. The quantity restrictions are going to be similar to product restrictions, except this is just going to be a value of quantity. So code 1 is 100, code 2, 40, code 3, 60, and these numbers can change. So if you wanted to restrict somebody to a certain volume of fuel, you can make some edits to this. And then when you create the cards, you are defining, I would like them to be 100 gallons, 40 gallons, or 60 gallons, and so on and so forth. But this list can change. So if you wanted it, code 1 to be 25 gallons, you can easily change that and then save and send to push that change down to the fuel site controller. Odometer reasonability. These charts are defining the range of what is considered reasonable for odometer reasonability. Odometer reasonability can be confusing, but basically you are monitoring the odometer value and then comparing the new value that somebody enters at the time of fuel with the last known value. And you're comparing, is that difference between the two numbers within a certain range? So here, 0 to 100 miles would be the range. So if somebody entered a number outside of that, then it would be outside of what we consider reasonable if we set up the card with this reasonability code 01. So here you just have the ability to change what is considered reasonable for those odometer reasonability ranges. So you could set this to higher or lower numbers, and you are basically just configuring what those ranges are that you consider acceptable. And then when you create your card, these options will drop down in a selectable list to select what code those are going to be for each card. Up here at the top, you have an option for allow fuel after 3 entries. That's just basically defining what happens if they enter a number outside of the given range. Do we want to allow them to fuel either way, or do we want to deny them fuel? So that's just a preference. I'd like to have that configured.